All right, everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow. And to all the first time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. And to all the subscribers, welcome back. All I ask for in return is for you to smash that like button to let me know you watch this video and to stay tuned on in towards the second half of this video. So I'm going to try to make this as brief and quick as possible, talking about why the stock market got a little bit spooked today and pulled back, and could this be part of the correction or crash beginning. So a lot of investors are anticipating in analysis ratings and experts a correction. Others are anticipating a crash, which could take for a few weeks to months from now. We'll have to see. Now, I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware that what I'm about to discuss has a little bit to correlate with the stock video that I posted earlier about the stock market crash or correction. Now, it's already starting to bring itself back up, but we'll have to see if this is real strength or this actually turns into weakness and actually gets pulled down again, making it even easier to pull it down even further. So that's something to watch moving forward. But it did hit a low here of 41.28. I mean, that was a big drastic change, 70-point drop. Now we're down about 40 points, almost 50 points. But what I want every single investor and viewer to be aware of is the fact that we are in a situation right now that this upcoming weeks is filled with catalysts from the Federal Reserve, talking about CPI data, as well as tapering or not tapering, or just tapering or not tapering, right, from bond purchases. So those of you that aren't aware with that, the bond purchases have a lot to do with how the stock's been moving and the overall market pushing upwards, okay? It's been supporting the run, and I wouldn't say completely, but it's been holding up the market. When the market gets spooked that tapering is going to happen or not, or something like that, and the market doesn't take it right, it could make this pull back a little bit while inflation's going up, which that's something that's anticipated and the Federal Reserve is aware of. And then we have Yellen here, which I realized this about earlier around 12 or 1 p.m. today, that Yellen stated, right, interest rates may have to rise somewhat to keep economy from overheating. So basically saying that, a lot of fiscal spending is going on, which they talk about here. They talk about these bond purchases. Somebody's going to have to kind of, taper this down of how much spending is going on and try to counter it. And they have the tools, right? Federal Reserve Chairman Powell always says he has the tools and everything. And one of his biggest tools is interest rates. And that's something that can spook the market as well. So if this happens earlier than expected or anticipated, then this can go from a correction to a possible crash, or a big correction compared to a crash. Like not a full crash, but a pretty big correction that no one was anticipating, because this is happening sooner than expected. Now, Federal Reserve Chairman Powell, Jerome Powell, always states that he's going to let everyone know ahead of time, and that the Federal Reserve will do a good job at doing that. And Yellen's already hinting interest rates may have to rise somewhat to keep economy from overheating. Now, they don't state when or anything like that. They're just saying it might have to happen. So here we are seeing that this whole entire contradictory of Jerome Powell saying, we're not going to overheat just yet. We're working towards substantial growth. We're nowhere near our goals. And then we have Yellen saying rates need to rise somewhat, quote unquote, for the economy to stop from overheating. So right now we have Yellen saying it might come sooner, Jerome Powell saying it's not nowhere near here. And now we have two contradictory statements leading to confusion in the market. Now, inflation is guaranteed. I mean, we can't avoid it. I think that's something that they've already emphasized, they're aware of, and they want to allow it to do its thing. And Yellen's saying inflation can get out of hand. We might need interest rates. And Jerome Powell has always said, I have tools and we'll use them accordingly. That's literally talking about interest rates. He just doesn't say it like that. And his plan and goal is not to raise interest rates like officially until 2023 or the end of 2022. So we don't know if this is a temporary thing or it might turn permanent. We don't know yet. But the Federal Reserve video that I just did of Jerome Powell speaking and me speaking over, making comments and sharing my opinions, there's some key things Jerome Powell stated that have a little bit to do with interest rate hikes and tapering or not tapering, as well as he stated twice in the same sentence of a statement responding to one of the reporters that assets and equities are frothy, that they're a little frothy right now. There's a little bit of froth in the markets. Okay. That statement resonated with me and it made me see the whole bigger picture. So it is important to be aware of that. I definitely recommend checking out that video if you haven't already. And guys, I have a ticker symbol to share with you guys, and I want to share the ticker symbols that I was watching this morning while the market was pulling downwards. We were up 30% plus on all three. We hit a home run with all three, 3 for 3 on the day, and the highest one went up 150% on the day. So stay tuned for that. And I want to share with you guys a ticker symbol you won't want to miss. You definitely want to add to your watch list. We're going to have to monitor this closely. And could this be the beginning of a crash or correction? We'll have to see. But interest rates getting hiked up, inflation coming around the corner, and so forth. We'll have to see if things get a little out of hand and it could spook the markets a little bit more, or if the Federal Reserve comes in and saves the day. All I'm asking for is 3 to 5 more minutes of your time. Stay tuned for all the information. So the ticker symbol I have to share with you guys today is one that I talked about before, and I really like the way it's been being up, and it's a great time to be watching it now more than ever. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But before we jump into these charts, may the 4th be with you. So here we are. These are the stocks that I watch every single morning. And if you want to get access to that, you can join us over at the Discord. The link is down below. You'll gain access to 100 plus members in our community that are smart, intelligent investors, all looking to learn and grow together to maximize profits and minimize losses. So let's go ahead and look at this. And if you want to become part of it, you are more than welcome to join us. The tiers and slots are filling up pretty quickly, and we look forward to having you join us. So HBP, right? I was about to say PB, but HBP was probably one of our worst performing. So it was currently sitting at 510 when I talked about it, and I stated it needed volume, okay? And when I talk about these stocks, it's not like that's the entry or that's the best price or that's the point. No. You just want to watch it, right? Because I'm watching it too. And it basically dropped to 490 and a low here of even 480. But right after that, it took off and hit a high of 586, a whole entire dollar. So this was a 20 plus gainer, okay? This was our worst performing of the day. Then we have Blrx, which I went ahead and mentioned in the pre-market as well, right here. And it was jumping and pulling back at the time. So I was watching it carefully going into the market. And it had jumped because of positive results on phase 3 trial. It was currently sitting at 497. So 497 was pretty close to the point where it hit a low here of 480 before the pre-market ended. And then once it opened, it hit 475. So it dropped a few cents after that. And then right after that, it took off to $6 and some change. So this one had a big reaction. Then it pulled back again, giving another opportunity there of another 20 to 30% jump, okay? So yeah, this was one of those that gave 30+%. And right there, right off the bat, it was almost 50% from that drop there, but it was around 30 to 40 +% within that area. So this was our second best player of the day of the stocks I was watching, right? Just because I'm watching it doesn't mean you need to act upon it, but you get access to seeing the stocks I watch every day. And every single day, I'm looking for 5 to 10%, and anything above that is great or a home run. And we hit home runs today all throughout. We went 3 for 3. And this was the best performing. A lot of the investors posted in the profits section. So if you join us, you'll see how many investors acted upon this and how it went for them. But this was one of those that early on, since I tell every single investor and viewer, all I'm looking for is 5 to 10%. And I've made videos endlessly talking about 10 to 20% is great. 20% plus is a home run. And as soon as you're in the 20s, 30s%, you know, it's up to me right? When I'm an investor, to take profits. And it's the same thing for you guys. But a lot of investors have started to realize that sometimes it's better to just lock in those profits than wait and see hopelessly and start losing it. So those that locked in profits, it turned out very well for them. And if you join us, you'll see it in the profits section. It was about 4 different investors, I think, or 4 plus, that actually had a great experience with this one. So I talked about this one early on, and it was sitting at 170 when I talked about it. Let's go ahead and look at that right here. So it basically was jumping on news from the previous day. I couldn't find any news today on it. So I guess the news started to reach investors and institutional investors or retail investors' attention, and it was sitting at 170 when I saw it. And right there we see a dip. It hit a low of 153, and after that it took off. This stock from 153 to where it's at right now, it 2x'd. Okay, this was 100+% gainer once that jump happened. But within just minutes, there was the opportunity right there to make anywhere from 20 to 40%, even upwards to 50 to 60%, even 70% at these highs. So these are the opportunities we look for in the Invest for Tomorrow community. You're more than welcome to join us. Today we went 3 for 3, all of them hitting home runs. Anything above 20% is a home run, 10 to 20% is a great day, and 5 to 10% is the realistic expectation, and really all I'm looking for every single day I trade. So if you want to become an investor that has an opportunity to maximize profits and minimize losses and learn through what I'm watching, you're more than welcome to. But just because I'm watching it doesn't mean you need to act upon it. I do want you guys to be aware of that. So what's the ticker symbol to add to your watch list? The ticker symbol I talked about last week, and I want every single investor and viewer to keep in mind, is Ford, guys. Ford had taken a beating, and it's getting close again to those lows after those lows of earnings back on the 29th, and then it kind of bounced right back up. So it's kind of sitting around that area. The closer it gets to $11, the more interesting. If it falls below it, I'll have to reconsider and reanalyze it, and that's something I would tell you to do as well. But do research and do your due diligence and check out what's going on overall in the market, because this is part of the S&P 500 index. And the S&P 500 index, we can see what happens. So the Ford stock here, F stock, is definitely one to watch and move with, because the opportunities might be in front of us or might be to come, right? And this stock does have potential because they have stakes in EV companies, and they're working their way into the EV sector. That's going to allow them to have a piece of the pie of the future revenue of the shift in the way the EV sector will impact the car industry. So Ford Motors has a chance. It is a blue chip stock. It went from being a penny stock to obviously over $10 this year, from last year to this year. And this stock has potential. I mean, if you look up analysis ratings and articles, there's very bullish outlooks. But this is the best time to watch it, especially after an overreaction of it dropping a total amount of $1.30. And if it drops a little bit more, that's a big move for Ford. It's a very slow mover, but when it moves, it moves. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.